I started in IC in grade 4. It was 1986, and my first teacher at IC Delta was Mr. Herman Kuipers, and then my grade 7 teacher was Mrs. Monroe, who was Miss Smiley at the time. After IC, I went to an all-girls Catholic school, then I went to UBC, and as I was trying to figure out what to do, I had a good friend of mine go, why don't you consider teaching? So I went into the UBC education program. After going through it, I knew I wanted to teach in the Catholic school system just because of the teachers here at IC and my experiences here. Ever since 2001, I've been the French teacher here. And I still remember telling the story because it was such an amazing story to me at the time. The assistant pastor said, God must have written in your heart that you'd come back to IC to teach. I love doing this job because I get to teach all the students in the school from kindergarten to grade 7, and I get to see them grow. I never thought I would be a teacher, but it was just the path that God had for me. I love it when they come up to me unprompted and they'll go, comment ça va? And or sometimes they go, oh, je suis fatigué, right? Because they're learning what they've learned in class and they bring it outside the classroom. Sometimes as they're exiting, they'll be saying the phrases we're learning or singing a song, and that just brings me joy because I know they're learning and they're trying to use the language outside of the classroom. You know, I would say what really motivates me are the students. Like, I love seeing them every morning, like either they're coming through the door, I'll go, bonjour, and every class I get to ask them, comment ça va? So I get to know how they're doing and they get to share with me what's going on a little bit. They also know that I love to start class with a prayer, so we always start with an Our Father or Hail Mary so we can give this time to God as we're in this class. So that's my hope, that they know that they are loved and prayed for, and in the end that they find the plan that God's written for them in their hearts. And the reason why I love this job is because the connections I make with my kids, the students that I teach, and it's my hope that they always remember that they're known, they're loved, they're prayed for. And I'm hoping that when they leave IC, that they kind of find what God has written in their heart for them too. Je m'appelle Madame Chow et j'enseigne le français ici. Et voici mon histoire de l'école Immaculée.
My parents arrived in Kennedy Heights in 1955 and joined Immaculate Conception Church. It was a little white church on Scott Road, and all my siblings went to Immaculate Conception. There were 7 of us all together who came through IC. After I finished at IC and I went on and got my teaching degree, I thought I want to come back and teach for IC, for this school that I love. And it happened that Sister Alexis, who had been my principal when I was a child, was still principal at IC, and she hired me. And I taught grade 7 for her. My children, I have 6 of them, they all came to IC. And then when my youngest was older, an opportunity came up that I could teach with a very dear friend in grade 4 about 8 years ago and come back into the classroom. And so I did that, and I've been so happy ever since. I love grade 4s, I love teaching. This is a very lovely, faith-filled community of people, and it's very, very special to me. I never planned to be a teacher. It wasn't in my plan. And I realized that I loved the kids. I loved teaching, and I thought, this, I think, is what I want to do. I realized how much I loved talking about the faith with the kids in a Catholic school. I loved reading great stories. I loved talking about saints. I loved teaching them about God's creation and science and history. And I thought, this is for me. This is my vocation, to be in a school. And I really love it. I still love it today. I love the kids. What I hope my students remember about me is my strong faith. So I hope they see the joy that I have in my faith, and that they remember that joy and want to continue in their own faith. I hope they think of me as a great storyteller. I think stories of the world are so interesting. Stories that we communicate to each other and that we tell about each other are things that really delight us, and I hope they remember that about me. I do poetry all the time. I hope they remember about the poems, and just love learning. Love learning. If they have that, they can go on, and the world is open to them, and I hope I help them in some way do that. My name is Suzanne Smiley Monroe, and this is my IC Delta story.
Do you want to know how I start the first day of school? I say we're going to make a lot of mistakes in this classroom. and I need you to remember who's going to make the most mistakes in this classroom. And they're like, oh, it's this person, this person, this person. I say, no, guys, it's this person, it's me. And that's how we learn. And I just want the kids to know that in this classroom, making mistakes is a great opportunity to learn. You know what? I tell the kids, if you can't make any mistakes this year, I can't teach you. So I started here in grade 1 as a student, and I finished here till grade 7 in confirmation. I went to university and thought about what it was that would bring me joy in my life, and it was teaching. So I went to PDP at SFU. And then when it came time to find a job, my actual grade 4 teacher here at IC was retiring. And so I applied, and I got a grade 4 position here. And here as a teacher, I've taught grade 4 for 4 years. I moved to grade 7 for 12 years. And now I think I'm in my 11th or 26th year here at IC. I generally wanted to help people. In teaching, when you have that moment where the student realizes, I can do that, where someone realizes, oh, I got it, where the light bulb goes off, I find that so rewarding.
What did you say? Use math?
Take your time.
Yeah, I have the math. Bend your legs. Yeah!
And when it comes to joy, when you see the smile on the face of a student, especially at this age in grade 7, where they realize, hey, Mr. Firm, I can do that. Or, hey, I understand that. When that moment happens, it's magical. And I think it's so gratifying when I have had students come back after high school, or they come back after starting their families, and they come back and they say, Mr. Prime, do you remember when? And a lot of the times I do. And I think what's most surprising is it's not the math, it's not the writing, it's not the test that they did well on or didn't do well on. It's those interactions between two people, one who's trying so hard to be a guide, and the other is the student trying so hard to become better. I think what's the most rewarding is that they see the effort teachers put in, and they realize that I was doing it for them, not for a job, not because it wasn't expected of me, is because I genuinely want them to become better, for them to come back and say, I recognize that you did try. It wasn't because you had to, because you wanted to. That is all the reward I need. My name is Christopher Prime. I'm the grade 7 teacher, and this is my IC Delta School.
The day I was born, I was part of the IC family. I was baptized here. I live in Delta. I always have. So this has been my home from day one. I loved going to school here. I had a really positive experience. I had a speech delay as a child, and my grade 1 teacher especially worked really, really hard with me. So that really touched my life. My grade 2 teacher, Margaret Lee, was my inspiration back then, continues to be an inspiration to me now. I often think of her in my own teaching practice. So it was just an amazing experience all the way through. Right from kindergarten, I was the person that, always looked up to my teachers. So right from kindergarten onward, I still have a kindergarten document that, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it was a teacher. I think it was 2001. I first started here, and I worked here for 2 years, filling in for maternity leaves. I went to a different Catholic school, worked there for many, many years, took a break when I had my kids. My kids were enrolled here, and then I came back. I love IC Delta. I love the sense of family. It's always felt like home. It still does. There's a consistency about IC Delta and just a sense of community that I think you can't find anywhere else. So. Teaching the whole child. I think there's just nothing nothing beyond compared. Knowing that you're doing God's work, that you're touching their lives and involved in their spiritual development. I think there's no greater, blessing to be a part of as a teacher, as a human, as a Catholic, to be able to touch the lives of children in that way, and really just to see the whole development of the child, not just a single part. That's just been the most amazing thing as a teacher for me. And I hope that they felt safe, they felt comfortable, that we were learning together. I try to emphasize that with my children, that I learned just as much from them as they learned from me, and that we were able to grow together, and that we're all called to do God's work, and that they continue to do that. So I pray that going forward after I'm way gone, that they continue to do that. And just like I was inspired by my teachers, I hope that they will be as well. My name is Lisa Saharchuk, and this is my IC Delta story.